Welcome back to the Iron Insight. Thank you for starting your week off right with the Iron Insight every Monday morning at 4 a.m. I'm Bryn Welds.
And I'm Andrew Dickles with Southern Leatherworks.
And today we're joined by Jonny Jones, jonny.dabs. How's it going?
It's good, man. Happy to be here. Glad we finally got on.
Yeah, sorry about last week. I know we planned a podcast and then I forgot I bid a job and I won it.
Oh, you got to do what you got to do, man. Money's important.
Yeah. I agree with that statement. Put that on a billboard.
I didn't even get finished that day. I ended up working on Thanksgiving on it too. But yeah, man. So you live and work in Chicago, but you're not from there, right?
No. I was born in New Jersey. I lived there until I was like 9 or 10, and then we moved here. So now it's gotten to the point where I've lived here for more of my life than I did in New Jersey. But yeah, I work out here. I'm like 30 minutes outside of the city.
And you think that's your forever place?
Probably. I mean, I moved to Arizona to try that, and that shit was bonk. That was not a good time, man. I mean, like, what I was doing out there was cool. Like, I was working with Frank over at Geyser Brothers, and, like, it was cool. Like, they build some gnarly stuff, man. Those Baja trucks are insane. Like, it's definitely some of the craziest off-road things I've ever seen, and it's so different.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm used to, like, the supercar stuff and the race car stuff, so to be exposed to, like, the off-road side, I'm like, oh, y'all like to party, you
know? You spoke about the supercar stuff a little bit, but, like, what steps did it take to get you there? Did you go to school? Did you start out in welding school?
I did go to school. I went to school just because I wanted to TIG weld. I didn't really have too much of an interest in like stick welding and MIG welding. I mean, it has its place and stuff. And in motorsports, you know, frames get MIG welded, stuff gets MIG welded. But I just was never like super into it. So I knew that I was like, all right, I want to TIG. I had this, I was like, I'm going to TIG weld titanium exhausts. You know, that's what I told myself when I was going to start school. And I went, I was there for 7 months. I was in TIG for all of a month. So like I told myself, I was like, bro, I could have bought a welding machine and just kind of like taught myself, to be honest, with how much it costs to go to school. Like, but they placed me in some dingy union shop, with their like career center or whatever. It was not TIG welding. It was like MIG welding laundry and garbage chutes for like hotels and skyscrapers and whatever. I was building a lot of like the doors for the chutes, which just involves stuffing doors with fiberglass and spot welding them shut, which I was like, bro, this is not the kind of welding that I would like to do. I don't even know if this counts as welding right now. And I lasted there all like a week and a half, 2 weeks. It was not for me, and I ended up finding like an entry-level TIG welding job at this hose manufacturing company, and that's how I got like super consistent with stainless, and I got like real comfortable with it. And then after that, I just kind of shot my shot at a shop, and I was like, hey, you know, I was like, I'm entry level, but if you guys are looking for somebody, I know you guys do production work, so I sent them my resume, whatever. And they ended up calling me back, and I got a job there. And that was like my first entry into like anything car related. I was building a bunch of intercoolers for like Evos and GTRs and stuff like that. Occasional like downpipes for Volkswagens, but a lot of intercoolers, so I got really good at aluminum. And then B-Rogue was hiring, and I knew Austin worked there, and I was like, whoa, he's a killer. That's sweet. Like I saw all his work, and I ended up getting the job there, and that's when I like really started diving into like the more intricate stuff, like building those twin turbo kits. Like that was the most complicated thing I think I ever built. I saw Austin build the first one, and I was like, bro, how did you even do that? So it was some getting used to, but it was really cool. It was a lot of fun. That was definitely my favorite job.
Huh. And have you ever thought of taking it solo? Because that's kind of what Austin did, didn't he?
Yeah. Austin does car stuff. He also does like private label stuff as well. I mean, I would like to. I just would like to get a little more experience under my belt as far as like custom fabrication goes, because the supercar stuff, although like it looked like we were just like building it, it's all planned. Like we have jigs. It's still like very production based, unless like the customer really wanted a one-off exhaust or something like that. But most of the time it's still like cut and paste. It's the same parts, the same way of making them. It's just a little more spread out. So I would like to get a little more comfortable with like building a turbo kit. Right now I'm working on a side project with my buddy on his Honda Civic. He has like a air to water intercooler set up, and he needs to finish that up and weld the downpipe and a bunch of other stuff. So I'm gonna use that as like practice a little bit. And then I would eventually like to go on my own, but it's tough, man. Expenses add up real fast, especially out here, dude. Everything's so fucking expensive.
Yeah, I bet.
And also, people don't want to pay. That's the other problem too. Is like, it's real hard to compete in the automotive industry with overseas. You know, like I can't build a downpipe for less than a couple grand, while they can go on Alibaba and buy the same downpipe for like $400, and they don't care. Like to them, it doesn't make a difference. Like they just want their car to sound different, or they need some power or whatever.
Yeah, but it's not the same. It's not the same product at the end of the day either, which is what they don't understand.
Yeah, they'll be like, "Why did my downpipe crack?" I'll be like, "Well, because they fused your V-band with no filler rod." Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, that's kind of like a similar situation I'm running into locally. There's an off-road shop that it's called Solo Cycles. They do some like motorcycles, but it's a lot of like off-road ATVs and stuff. And he was like, "Man, if I'm going to Kansas for all these roll cages, if you could start building those locally, that'd be sweet." And I was like, "Dude, I don't even know if like I got to learn a lot more." And he was like, "Yeah, a lot of people go to Baja, and it costs like half as much down there." So like, I don't even know if it's something I want to get into. Plus the liability with all that.
It's a lot, man. Cages and stuff like that. When you're really getting into it, like that's somebody's life in your hands, you know. So you gotta really be confident in your abilities when you start making like safety equipment. And that's something I'd like to learn how to do is cages. But I'm on the same boat as you. As like, bro, that's just such like a huge life. Like if something, God forbid, happens, and you're like, yeah, I built that cage.
Did you? Did you really?
So that's the nerve-wracking part. But
it's like crazy to hear somebody like you with the welds that you make and the stuff that you build say, "Oh, I gotta practice before I go off and do this." Like, it's not something you expect.
It's all about practice at the end of the day. Like, I mean, no matter how my welds look nice, you know, but like if I don't know how to build the exhaust, it don't matter how nice my welds are if it don't fit, you know. So it's like those are like the things that people don't really think about. Like, you can practice welding. Welding's great. Like, if you get a production job like I'm at right now and you can just lay some heaters, like, it's good. But, like, if you really want to get into it and you really want to make some money out of it, like, you got to be a good fabricator, too. And, like, Austin was the big one. And my old boss also, like, really ingrained that in me. They're like, anyone can weld if you give them long enough, you know, but not everyone can fabricate.
Yeah, not everybody can fabricate. That's the truth.
You guys, do you guys have a shop dog?
We did, yeah. There's actually one at my shop now too, but it's like a change of pace because the last shop I was at, it was a pit bull named Jax, and he was like a sweetheart. Like, bro just wanted all the attention, and like now it's like this tiny little Shih Tzu, and I'm like, oh, it's so funny. Like, it's such a duality.
Big difference.
Yeah.
And how did you originally get hooked up with EDGE?
Austin was like my main introduction to EDGE. Because when I went there and I started working there, I was like, bro, those cups are pretty sweet. Like, what are those? And he started explaining them to me. And then when the time came around, in between then, I was like posting with them and using them because I was using all of Austin's. But eventually came the time when they started looking for a new Army member, and I guess he threw my name in the ring, and that's kind of how it all got started.
That's dope. Did you ever break one of Austin's when you were using it?
Yeah, for sure. Well, the thing is, I wasn't even using it. We were actually just hanging out in the shop. It was like after hours. We were just hanging out, having a couple beers. And it was like late. It was probably like 9, 10 o'clock at night. And I was sitting in a rolling chair. And like, I just moved backwards towards the table. And like, I didn't anticipate how far I rolled. And I just hear a little tink and then a shatter. And I was like, oh, no. And it was the 18 cup too. It was like literally the one cup he uses all the time. But I finally broke my own the other day for the first time.
For the first time?
For the first time, I finally broke my own cup. I'm usually pretty gentle with them, but the other day I put it in my torch holder, and I don't know how I put it in there, and it just like, and just ate shit. And it was a Monday too, so I was like, yeah, this feels like a Monday.
Feels like a Monday.
You've got a like kind of a signature style of posting at the end of each one of your slideshows on Instagram. You always drop something. When did that come about?
Well, I gotta give credit because like my buddy Ricky, when I was working at AMS, he used to do that, and like I used to wait for him to post because like he'd always put something ridiculous at the end of it, whether it was like a little video or a meme or whatever, and I kind of just picked it up from that, and that's why like in my bio it says laying beads and slanging memes or something stupid, and I was like, well, yeah, I might as well commit to that, so I just kind of started doing it one day and like just didn't stop.
So now, like, how many shops have you been at now?
Automotive, three. Yeah,
and that's
been
what
three. Yeah.
How did you like even discover that side of the industry? Like, even you said you went into school knowing that that's what you wanted to do, eventually do.
Well, so there's a very large company called Rift Exhausts, and they have like this whole motto of like hand built in house, whatever. They're not. But I didn't know that before. And I was like, oh man, that's sick. Like this company exists just making like Bugatti exhaust, Lamborghini exhaust, blah, blah. And then I come to find out you can find their exhaust on Alibaba. But like that was what introduced me to it. I was like, oh shit, like somebody has to weld that, you know, like I want to be the guy that has to weld that. And now knowing what I know now, I don't think I want to be the guy that welds that where he's welding it at, but it's that kind of got me into it. And then Dabs Wellington was posting all of his like TIG art and all of that, and I was like, dude, that's sweet. I was like, that's something I'd also like to learn how to do. And he was also like a huge factor into like picking TIG, because automotive stuff came after I started paying more attention to TIG welding and just started following it a little bit more. But he was like my first introduction to like, not all welders have to be field welders. You know, like you don't have to be out there. Like there's other stuff you can do within welding.
Right. And it helps you're in a great location because like in Nebraska, we don't have nothing like that.
Oh yeah, location's like such a huge part, dude. Like that's why I feel bad sometimes because like people ask me, they'll be like, well, I want to build supercars, you know, I want to do stuff like that. And I'm like, it's also like a little bit of luck, you know, because like if there's not a shop in your area, then you're probably going to have to move for the job, because like Austin moved from Pennsylvania to Illinois to go work at B-Road. So it's like there's some of those things that sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, you know, like if you want to go build drag cars, you're probably going to have to move to like Texas. Like it's like a huge, or I mean, I know Indianapolis also has some pretty decent shops, but that's just kind of how it is. Like you got to go where the racing's at.
Yeah. What out of all the projects you've been able to work on, all the cars, what do you think has been the coolest or the coolest moment?
I think the coolest was the first time I ever got to make like some custom tips for this Audi R8 that we had at B-Road. It was all like R8 Red Bull livery. So like they basically look like the F1 cars, but they were the R8s. One was blue and one was white. One was turbo and one was not. And on the turbo one, we didn't want to run a bumper. So we made like these like bullhorn exhausts. I mean, I can send you a picture of it after this if you want to show it. But that was like my first ever custom like project, and I was like super satisfied because it looked sick. And we had a professional photographer, and he was taking pictures of it, and it literally looked like bullhorns for the Red Bull car, and it was sweet. Like this like raw titanium, it was sick.
Is titanium your favorite material to work with?
Yes, for sure. It's the most satisfying material to work with, but it's just so expensive that it's like no one wants to pay for that anyway.
Yeah.
It's crazy, dude. Like once people find out how much it is, they're like, what?
Are you sure?
Yeah, like my buddy, he builds Audi RS3 and like TTRS exhausts, which are like relatively standard. But I mean, his titanium exhausts are like $4,000, something like that. I'm like, this is a good chunk of money. Someone sees that and they're like, damn. But that's like, then you go back to that whole problem with like the overseas stuff is like, you have the competition producing paper thin exhausts and selling them for dirt cheap. So it's really hard to compete. Like you really have to find the customers that want quality in order to make those quality projects. Like that's the toughest part.
What is the typical wall thickness on the tubing you guys run?
On titanium, it's metric. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's close to like a 16th.
Damn.
Yeah, it's 16 of an inch.
That's crazy.
Same with stainless also.
What
Like
size
those
is your-
recent ones. What?
What size is your filler rod then?
It typically, if it's like a butt weld on tube, like 045, 035, really just depends.
Fuck.
But like on those, yeah, it's small. And like now when I grab like a 332nd rod, I'm like, Jesus Christ, is this an eighth of an inch?
Shit, look
What
at this
the
thing.
fuck?
Look at this thing. It's a tree branch.
But like those cast pieces that I just recently posted, they have like the tube to a cast piece. Like those, that's like a 16th of an inch tube to go into like a thick ass casting. So like that one's a little different. We double pass those. I'll do like a 16th on the root pass and then like a 332nd cap all the way around it. But yeah, it varies. But with the tubing stuff, it's usually always really thin. But you can imagine the overseas stuff is even thinner because they use like half the thickness.
That's crazy.
Do you typically like have a lot of starts and stops per joint, or does the positioner pretty much make it none?
The positioner pretty much makes it none for sure. The positioner, like getting used to that, I was like, damn, this is pretty nice. You just keep it going. But like at the last shop, it was they're pretty consistent. But with the EDGE cups, like if you use a big enough cup, like an 18 or like a 21 or something, you can like really space out that bead. Like your start stops will be still pretty far apart anyway. But you just have to know how to use it the right way.
Damn. What kind of tungsten do you run?
Typically like CK's laser. That one like usually works the best
for the first time.
It's really good. I mean, it's with me like with the stuff that I weld, unless I'm welding aluminum, 95% of the time I don't notice a difference in my tungsten. It really doesn't make too much of a difference. And like Harrison said, you know, whatever angle I get on the on the belt sanders, what I get, you know. Thankfully, Blue Demon sent me one of their tungsten grinders, so now I'm a little more precise with it. But before, dude, it was just whatever the belt grinder would give me.
Whatever the belt grinder gave you. No shit.
Yeah,
I forgot he said that.
dude, he was killing me with that Q&A.
Speaking of FabTech, how would you stack up this FabTech compared to the others?
Oh, dude, it was sick. But like I told Brad, this FabTech, like apart from FabTech hours, it didn't really feel like a learning experience. You know, it was more just hanging out with everyone. And
just socialization. That was about it.
Yeah, like going to the beach and stuff. Like it was just a good time overall. Hopefully they never bring it back to Georgia, because after being in Florida, I was like, I don't want to go to Georgia's FabTech after this. If I'm traveling this far, at least make it fun.
Yeah, man, I had a nightmare traveling.
Yeah, well, I don't know what's up with you, man. You got to just start driving everywhere, because that's insane, dude.
Yeah, Harrison and I had, our gates were right across from each other at the airport at the same time, and we both kept getting delays, and he ended up going to Miami. I went to Dallas, and then I had to stay the night in Dallas, but I had a buddy in Dallas at the same time, so he came and picked me up, and we went to Whataburger, and then I eventually made it home the next day. But Harrison was heading north, but going to Miami first.
Dude, that was so funny. I remember when he was explaining that. I was like, that is
Shout
so
out to
backwards.
Harrison for booking the direct flight.
Yeah.
Nah, the
He was
Uber
like,
the
I'm
Uber to
never
the
letting
airport
my
was the
mom
best.
pick my flight again. Oh yeah, I
Oh,
forgot about
shit.
that Uber to the airport.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. Got in the Uber with a bowl of rice. And there was a sign on the
Harrison
back,
did?
"Please don't eat
Yeah.
in the Uber."
Just straight up a bowl of plain rice is what he got into the Uber with.
Sounds about right. I have no doubt about it.
Yeah.
That was so
Man,
That was
even
wild.
like the Arcs and Ales, and the Hard Rock were even, I feel like, better than any other cities was.
Oh, for sure. The Hard Rock was cool because we were at Universal. You know, you're just like looking at all like the stuff like it's around.
Yeah.
I like Chicago's FabTech for sure, just because it's close to home. So like that's like the one benefit of Chicago's. But yeah, I'm excited for 2026 though. It's going to Vegas, so it's gonna be a lot of
That's gonna be
degenerate welders
fun.
running around Vegas.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll be 21 by then, and I'm a big gambler, so I'm pretty excited.
Oh god, I keep forgetting
Can't
you're a
relate.
child.
I'll watch you do it. Can't relate.
Yeah, it will be fun. Next year's in Chicago again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, next year's Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago's nice. The Arcs and Nails was too much last year, though.
I don't remember where Arcs
absurd.
and Nails was.
It was right by the convention center, but it was like packed. It was poles to holes, the whole fucking thing.
That's great.
It was like you had to walk in and then go upstairs. You go upstairs. Johnny Snyder won that East Side.
Oh,
hood.
yeah. I remember. We were in and out. We went and got our drinks and left because it was so busy. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I went downstairs and ate at the regular
He was
restaurant.
like, yeah. All those people were probably like, "What the hell is going on?"
Yeah, that was absurd.
Yeah.
George's was nice. Their Arcs and Nails. That was the outside brewery.
Yeah, that one was nice.
You remember that? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
But I
that
feel
one.
like
That one was chill.
there's not as much to do in Atlanta as there is in like Chicago or Florida.
No, I felt like everything was closed by like 9, 10 o'clock in Atlanta when we were down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything was closing super early.
And then
And it's
Andrew drove
Atlanta.
home. Yeah. After Atlanta, Andrew drove home into a hurricane.
Yep, headed right for it. Dude, I'm getting home. I'm not staying. Would you stay in Atlanta another day? Nobody wanted to stay in Atlanta another day. Hurricane's better than staying in Atlanta.
Yeah, that sucked. I remember me, Brad, and Austin, we were trying to like walk to the convention center. We were carrying a bunch of shit. And like this dude, this old black dude was just looking at us crazy. He was like, "Y'all know where you guys are going?" And we were like, "No, we have no idea where we're going." He goes, "Well, you don't want to go that way. Gangbangers and prostitutes are that way." And I was like, "All right, well, we're not going that way, guys. Turn around."
Andrew and I...
he goes, "Convention center's the opposite way."
Sounds about right.
Andrew and I had a crazy hotel there.
Yeah, we actually had a decent hotel.
It was super nice. I remember...
yeah, the hotel that...
I think every day we had Chick-fil-A. Because it was on the second floor of our hotel. And there was like
it was every morning.
But yeah.
We just had Waffle House.
We had Waffle House too. I'd never had it before that.
Yeah, we ate at the Georgia Tech College Waffle House on the last morning of Fab Tech. It was fun. They had like Georgia Tech memorabilia in there. It was like right on campus. It was cool.
Yeah, it sounds way nicer than the one that we went to
probably.
Atlanta
Probably.
at 11:30 at night.
Yeah,
that
probably.
Was not as nice.
Oh hell.
Yeah, Chicago's cool, dude. Cause like what all did we do? Blue Man Group, and then Lou Malnati's, and then Navy Pier.
Yeah, went on the boat.
Oh yeah, the boat.
I think didn't we go on the
Ferris
wheel too? Yeah, we went on the Ferris wheel too. Yeah, it was good. I like Chicago because like I don't really go to the city very much. So it's like anytime I do go to the city, I'm like kind of a tourist in my own city, to be honest. And I know like the people that are from Chicago are like, "Oh, what do you mean, nerd?" You know, but like it's cool. Like after being in Jersey and like experiencing New York, and I like New York better because it's where I'm from. But as far as cities go, Chicago's a better city. It's cleaner. Like the people are nicer. You can do shit. You can breathe. New York. Everyone's in a hurry, everyone's yelling at you, and everyone's a dick.
I had some really good food in Chicago.
The food is great, except the pizza. The pizza's terrible. I'm going to catch so much flack for that. But anyone that says deep dish pizza is better than New York pizza can kick rocks with their socks off, all right?
Yeah, I didn't like Lou Malnati's, but I DoorDashed food to my hotel the last day, and... like, I didn't leave the hotel. I DoorDashed it to my hotel, got it, took it right back upstairs, and stayed up there and watched people out the window. And then,
People watching. It's a fun pastime. Not gonna lie.
I'm just picturing Bryn standing there in his whitey tighties with a slice of
Shirtless.
pizza in his
Yep.
hand.
Shirtless.
Yeah.
No, box
Just
in the
staring
left
at
hand,
people.
slice in the right. Yep.
No, it was
Hat
it was
still
like a
on.
That's the one.
pesto. It was like a pesto chicken pasta, and then also chicken sandwich because I love chicken sandwiches. And so I got that and watched everybody, and then we also went out to eat one night, like me, Johnny Snyder, Eric Stacia, and the SSP people. I think was it, and that was a really good meal. They got me to try this taco called a ceviche taco. It's like raw tuna, but they cook it with lime and citrus and stuff, and that was weird. But the rest of the meal was good.
That was weird.
Yeah, Chicago was dope. I didn't have a problem at all with Chicago. What do you think Vegas will be like? Have you been to that venue?
I've never been. Well, yes, I have. I imagine they're going to have it at the Las Vegas Convention Center, which I did go to SEMA for my 25th birthday. I went out there to check it out, and it's a real big convention center. So I imagine wherever we're at is probably where we're going to be at for most of the time. It was kind of like Florida; like you had to walk a significant amount of time to get like to the other side.
Yeah.
But I mean, it'll be Vegas, so it's gonna be a good time. I'm sure. I'm sure everyone will tolerate a little bit of walking.
Did you go to the other side in Orlando?
You cut out.
Did you go to the other side in Orlando?
I did. I ended up finding a sim like setup, like the racing sims. And I was like, well, I'm gonna check this out, and then I did that for a little bit, and then we just walked up and down some of the aisles, and then quickly realized that it was like nothing in regards to like what we know at least. And then I just went back to the other side because it was, you could tell which side was there to party and which side was there for business. You know, we were on the party side having a good old time with the welders, and then you have like the big machine salespeople that look like they're all just in their suits and they just don't want to be there.
Yeah. I like to follow Brad around. Of course, he wasn't there this year, but in Chicago, he took me to the other side, and he doesn't give a fuck. He'll walk up, take all the freebies from a table, and then keep going. He won't respond to the sales people at all.
That sounds like Brad. I mean, the best part about these conventions is the free stuff anyway. So
The free stuff. Yep.
Yeah, I have grinding wheels from Atlanta still.
dude, I have so much stuff. I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna use this, and then it just ends up in the same little souvenir bag that they gave it to me.
Yep.
Like, it was Pearl Abrasives in Atlanta. They gave me a ton of freebies. I get home, and then they sent me 12 chop saw blades and then 250 of these grinding wheels. And I still have them. Like, I use them. They're nice. But it was too
250?
much. Yeah. Yeah. I ended up doing, like, for a couple weeks, I was doing a giveaway where I was like, I'll give you 10 of these grinding wheels. And then, the chop saw blades, I'm still not through because I don't use a carbide, or I don't know if it's carbide, like the abrasive wheel.
Abrasive wheel.
Yeah, now that I'm with Evolution, I don't. But, yeah, I love FabTech. I wish there was another show like it other
PRI.
than, well, yeah, but PRI is like, I wouldn't know what I'm looking at PRI. So,
No, it's a good time. It's like SEMA if you actually like are in the business. Basically, it's a lot of fun. PR is sick.
isn't it like a little bit more exclusive though? Kind of hard to get into. If you're
I
not,
don't know. I mean, yeah, if you're not in the industry, it might be hard. But I mean, like if you know someone who owns a shop, you could probably pull it off. It's not like the end of the world. Like it's a lot easier to get into SEMA for sure. Because like I think there's like a lot of guest passes, and I think now there's even public days. I may be wrong, but I think there's actual days where the public can even go and see everything. But like PRI, like there is no public days. Like it's just industry people. That's why I like PRI a lot because you get to talk to a lot more people. Whereas like SEMA, when I went to SEMA, it was just like, yeah, you could tell there's business being done, but like it's mostly just a big show. You know, it's like just one big car show.
yeah, FabTech's like open to everybody, but you're not gonna be there if you don't if you're not in welding, because like
Yeah, I'd imagine if you're not in some kind of manufacturing or fabrication industry, you're gonna walk in a fab tech and be like, "Well, this sucks," and just leave.
Yeah, no
what
kidding.
what do you think is your favorite booth besides like Edge Everlast, obviously, at FabTech every year that you catch yourself at?
The Optrail booth.
Oh yeah,
I like
forgot.
going to the Optrail booth because they always have like some new shit. Like this year, they had the hybrid hoods that like look like the panoramics and stuff like I have, but it's actually for both laser welding and regular welding. Because I guess the laser welding you need like a special kind of tint, like
You
it's like
do,
the
which I
regular.
did not. Yeah, I did not know that.
I didn't know until this last fab tech either because he was explaining it to me and I was like, that's pretty sweet. Um, and Fronius's booth is pretty cool. I like bullying him a little bit and going and be like, how does this machine work? And then you just try a little weld and they'll be like, wait a minute.
lay down the nicest speed of the whole week, and they're like, hang on a fucking second.
I watched Austin do that one year and I was like, oh, you're a terrible person.
Hey, how do I turn this machine on?
The guy just walked away. He's just like, okay, well, you clearly got this. So
Yeah,
Oh,
the only
man.
reason I knew that about the laser welders was because Weld.com's videos, they got a ton of, because like the laser welding side of the industry is seriously lacking in safety equipment and stuff like that right now. But also, our local Matheson sales rep won't sell any laser welders because he sold one to a company about 40 minutes away from me, and one of the guys, there's a failsafe, like it's almost like a ground clip from your gun lead that has to be on the table, but if you put it onto the gun itself, it just does the same thing. And so he did that, and then he went to pick it up on the cleaning mode, and he went like this with it and just shot all the way up the shop wall, up the surface of the wall, and like burnt all their insulation and shit.
Fuck.
So he won't even sell them right now.
yeah.
Fucking idiots.
And that's
I mean,
kind
I
of
guess
like,
it's better than his hand, but damn, bro, like, what do you're giving people the Iron Man power right now?
that's kind of like Jesse. Jesse will send me a video every once in a while, or send it into the group chat of him like blasting a Mountain Dew can from 20 feet away with it. But it is cool. And Andrew and I did try the laser welding. It's weird, like super weird, and it's got to be a perfect fit up. Yeah.
Yeah, I
but-
want to know how it does with gaps because, like, I always see this stuff with like great fit up, but like, what if you got some not good fit up? I know a lot of people that can't face a tube like that.
Yeah, the lady in there told Andrew and I, like, if there's any pretty much any gap, it's a no-go. But like some of our parts are built with relief bends with a gap on purpose, so that was
Yeah.
like the main turnoff for our shop. And but God, I would love it. It would make a lot of my jobs easier.
Yeah, it's pretty nutty. I'd like to try one for sure because, like, I always see the videos, and I'm like, it looks pretty cool. At first, like, the first time I ever saw it, it was on like one of those Crafty Panda Facebook videos, and I was like, okay, what the hell is this? Like, this shit's probably gonna break as soon as you like bend it hard enough. Like, it's gonna snap. But then I started seeing people like for real use it, and like Everlast introduced theirs, and I was like, okay, all right, I guess this is like some real usable shit. So that's cool. And like when Jesse was showing off that cleaner, like the laser cleaner, I was like, damn, that's pretty. I'd be doing some random shit if I had that.
Yeah. It's dude, it's like hard to get used to because you're so used to, if you MIG weld at all or have recently, like then you're used to, you don't want the wire to hit the surface before it melts.
Yeah.
So but with that you have to let the wire push your gun away, and that is how you move. It's so weird.
You
And it's
let
gotta
the
stay in
wire
contact.
push the gun along. It's weird.
And you have to like stay in contact. The nozzle has to be in contact with the material, and that's it. I don't even know.
That sounds like a process.
There's like 2 triggers you got to pull as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was super weird. But a lot of the laser welding companies at FabTech couldn't even use their laser welder because they didn't meet the safety requirements. I think the only one that did was Light Weld IPG Photonics, which is the one that Andrew and I used.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't try that tip TIG either, but I've been wanting to try that for like the past 2 years now.
Harrison
Isn't
did.
that,
Harrison tried it.
isn't that like the automated like feeding TIG?
Yeah, it like
Yeah.
feeds wire in there. I wouldn't have a use for it at all, but like, it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I see a
wonder
lot
how-
of them popping up.
I wonder how much heavier the wire or the gun is, or torch. I wonder how much heavier the torch is. Probably not.
Probably.
Too much,
I mean, it has to be like. I just imagine it would be weird because like even if I were to use like a trailing cup, like I feel that weight on it, like, and like it just feels weird to me whenever I'm using it.
Yeah.
But so I can imagine that would like take some getting used to. I could see it being used on a lot of robotic equipment too.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. A trailing cup. I've never used one, but I've seen them. It probably
Well,
is
with
weird.
edges, you don't really need it too much because like if you just go to a big enough cup, it acts kind of like a trailing cup, like the 30, like that hefty boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've used them like a couple times, and like I used 3D printed metal ones at the last shop, and like it's just like weird because you have to like just compensate like the balance and torch, and like it's fine, I guess, but I mean, I'd imagine after like a few long runs, you'd probably get tired of it.
Yeah. I feel like, yeah, you would definitely feel it too. After a full day of welding with it, you would
Yeah.
notice that weight for sure. Yeah. What, you are going to PRI this year too, right? It's coming up,
Yep.
isn't it?
Yeah, we're going with Edge. Edge is gonna have a booth this year. So I will be down there with Austin, Timmy Tickles, good old 2 a.m. later media, Stacia, Eric, and I believe Jesse's also going down. So it should be a good
Heck
time.
yeah.
Does Everlast have a booth?
I don't think so, but it would be good for them to have a booth, and I think that's why Jesse's going down to kind of see like how that would work. But we'll see. I guess we'll see in the future if they end up actually getting one or not. I know it's a lot harder to get a booth at PRI than it is at FabTech, because like PRI like kind of does this thing where like if you're in, and you get first dibs. So most of the time like people aren't gonna not go, especially if it benefits them. So like sometimes it's harder to get a booth. So that's why like the moment they opened up a spot, they feel like run it. Like let me get that. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Who else from FabTech has a booth there?
I believe Blue Demon and Techno Weld are gonna have a booth. TIG Aesthetics, he's gonna be there. He's usually there with Tycon and Stainless Bros. I'm sure some of the saw manufacturers and like some machining manufacturers are probably going to be there too. Some that I don't know of, because there is machining equipment too, lathes and whatever you got to use for like engine machining and all that. I
Probably a couple more.
think Optrail is going to be there. Yeah, there's a few.
Oh,
There's a
man.
few that cross over, but not a whole bunch. It's usually the ones you'll see that are like the exact same will be like from SEMA to PRI, because I'm pretty sure SEMA runs PRI.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect Optra to be there. That's different.
I don't know if they're there or not, but I know there's a welding hood manufacturer that is there. I don't know if it's them or not.
One thing I don't like about FabTech is how many welding hood manufacturers there is like,
There's a lot.
you know, like the cheap Chinese ones with just decals, like different decals.
I always love going to like the outskirts of FabTech, and you just see like all the names of the companies are all in Mandarin.
Yep.
Everything's in Mandarin. And
Like
you just see,
Flying
like, everything.
Tiger or,
Yeah,
something like that
exactly.
bullshit.
And you just see like all the welding hoods that look suspiciously close to all the name brand welding hoods, and you're like, oh no, yeah, that's totally not a coincidence. I'm sure you guys just hired their designer or something, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
In Atlanta, I remember there was a massage gun booth pretty close to Ed.
There was one this year too. It just wasn't
Yep.
as close to us. They tried to get me a few times.
I got a free massage demo done on me, and then they were like, yeah, we'll do like $700 for this one, and I was like, nah, no way. And then they were like, we can do $350 best, and I was like, nah. Like I wasn't gonna buy one anyways. I just wanted the massage, and
The way they cut 50% off right off the top,
I know it was
Right
like,
off,
what
right off
hell?
the rip. Yeah.
they're definitely getting them shits for $15 each.
Exactly.
Yeah. God, I can't wait for Vegas. I don't even know if
Yeah,
I'm
it'll
gonna
be a
go to
good one.
Chicago this year. I'd love to, but
Well,
I
depending on
definitely will, but I don't know.
depending on the timing, if I have a place by then, we can all just stay at my place and drive to the city every day.
That'd be wicked. That'd be
yeah,
better than
that's
getting a
one thing about
hotel.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's one thing that sucks about Chicago is how expensive. Like, well, the hotel I stayed at wasn't bad, and then I got a pretty nice Airbnb, but it was like in a shitty part of town, but it was a nice inside Airbnb.
They're like,
with-
yeah, we're gonna put you in Englewood, but it's freshly renovated, so just don't worry about the paint job.
Yeah,
it was
we
like
wiped the blood off the walls. That's the renovation.
I think it was the southwest side of Chicago. It was on like Martin Luther King Drive.
Yep, that's all you need to know right there. That's it.
It was me, Johnny Snyder, and James from SSB Weld. And James
What a
drove.
group! What a group to be on the south side of Chicago.
James drove, so that was nice. But
Oh, that's funny, dude.
yeah, James. Man, that's when it was the last day of Fab Tech, and I was helping James load up his booth, and then like this salesman jumped out of his booth in front of us and was like, "What do you guys do for a living? What kind of work you do?" And I was like, "We work for the government." And then kept walking, but yeah. No, I love
for the
Fab
government.
Tech. But we got about 40 minutes of good footage. Here's one thing we ask each guest before we end the episode. What is your favorite genre of music to listen to while you work or weld?
Oh man, I don't know if there's a favorite because like I have such like ADD when I'm welding, so it's like sometimes
Same.
I'll listen to 4 hours of Joe Rogan. Like sometimes I'll listen to like another 4 hours of just like the most random mix of music you've ever heard. I have like Queen on there. I got like AC/DC, and then I also have like Migos. Like I have the most random mix of music. I don't think I can say I have a favorite. I think the most ridiculous one that I'll listen to is like you guys know the Nintendo Wii.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if there's a piano soundtrack to the Wii songs from the Nintendo Wii, all the
Oh
popular
my
ones,
god.
and sometimes I'll be like, you know what? Let's really change it up, and I'll put that on, and dude, I'll be going for like 45 minutes just
That's
big chilling. Bro. It just depends on the day. Man. You just gotta catch me on the right day.
That's funny.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. If
Absolutely, I appreciate you guys having me.
any of the listeners want to find you, where can they find you at?
Jonny.dabs on Instagram. I've been doing a little more on TikTok. It's the same jonny.dabs. And yeah, follow EDGE Welding Cups, these fellas, and Everlast Welders, you know, all the good stuff.
Yeah, we appreciate everybody listening. Everlast link in the bio or show description, show notes. If you're interested in Everlast Welder but have questions, shoot me a message on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever you want. And if you order through that link, you know what machine you want. You get the upgraded Nova Torch and TIG foot pedal package, free of additional charge, as well as we got some Black Friday sales going on. Evolution link in the description. You don't get anything, but it shows them that I sent you. Got a couple videos on their mitering chops all coming out soon. And Andrew,
And head on over to southernleatherworks.net for any and all custom welding hood products. Southern Leatherworks on both TikTok and Instagram. Message me for any and all custom leather goods. jonny.dabs, we really appreciate you coming on, man. It was a blast talking to you. And maybe we'll look forward to seeing you in Chicago for Fab Tech.
Absolutely, fellas. It was a great time.